What's up guys, Ben Milliken here back for Carl's Mystery Tackle Box. Super jacked for the video today because I'm telling you guys some secrets that I've learned over the years to catch some of my biggest bass, all while flipping shallow cover. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about flipping jigs, Texas rigs, and some other sneaky little baits into shallow cover to catch some of your biggest bass of the entire year. I've spent a ton of time doing this. I've had great days, terrible days. I'm going to tell you guys what I've learned. Alright, so before we get into where and the areas you need to target with flipping baits in the spring, which it can be very, very critical as to how successful you're going to be almost every single time, let's talk about the different types of baits I like to flip. You know, number one, my all-time favorite choice because it just flat out catches big fish, it's very, very versatile, is the jig. I love throwing this guy right here around wood and heavy cover, but especially wood, like laydowns like we got right back here behind us. This new Trashmaster jig that actually came out, it's exclusive to Carl's, shopcarls.com mystery tackle box. This guy is awesome because it comes through all different types of cover really well, and that's because it's made with the screw lock keeper right down there, so you can put whatever soft plastic you want and Texas rig it. So you can bury that hook into the plastic as opposed to your traditional weed guard jig that doesn't come through the grass and the really slimy stuff near as well. Second type of bait I really like to deploy whenever I'm flipping in the spring is just a straight up Texas rig, especially a Texas Rig Beaver style bait. For whatever reason, these craw imitators that are short and compact like this guy right here have a little bit of flap to them on the bottom, absolutely freaking get bit. But both these baits work under totally different conditions, and a lot of times this guy will absolutely load the boat and the jig won't. And the jig will load the boat, and this guy will catch small ones. So let's talk about when and where I like to throw both baits. When I'm fishing a jig or I'm going out flipping for the day, especially in the spring, is figuring out what type of cover and where that cover is that the fish are relating to that day. So it's obviously important to go fish some areas you have a lot of confidence in, but what I'm really talking about there, first thing you need to figure out is, are they on the main lake in the timber? Are they way back in pockets like this one right back behind me? That's the first thing you got to figure out. You got to figure out where the fish are in their progressions. But one thing I got to warn you with on that is some of the biggest bass of the entire year are going to be some of the first to move up into the shallow areas. I've caught fish when the water's in like the 40s, slid way up back in pockets in a foot of water. Now the biggest thing for me in the spring, a big tip with that is definitely look for deep water access nearby. That the case almost always is there's deep water nearby. Those big fish like to move up shallow because the water's a little bit warmer and they feel very comfortable up there, but they want to be able to move back off into that deeper water as well, say the lake dropped or something like that. Second thing we got to figure out is what type of cover these fish are holding on. We got a couple different types right here. We have a lay down right over there. We have more of just a standard brush pile right back here. Of course, the only way to figure out what they're holding in is to go out and figure it out that day. Cover water. You know, covering water is the biggest thing. A lot of people think of flipping as like a slow, methodical technique, and it is. But being methodical and sharp and precise and really covering a lot of water, not a lot of time in between casts. You know, get that bait in, flip it back out there, get it down in that pile, shake it a few times. You know, work it over a tree limb, and as soon as you're through it, reel it back in and back into the next presentation. You want to make as many presentations as possible, then you can figure out where those bass are, what type of cover they're holding on that day, and where they're at in the creeks throughout their spawning process. So the second type of bait I like to use, like I was telling you guys, is just a straight up Texas rigged beaver style bait. Now where I like to throw this and what I like to look for whenever I'm throwing this is honestly the identical cover that those jigs work in, this same Texas rig is going to work as well. Like I was saying though, conditions can be a little bit different. Like today, we have bluebird skies. We don't have a lot of wind. We just got a little ripple on the water. Everything is really moving slow today, and those fish seem to be a little bit tighter to cover, and they're really not wanting to move around or eat anything big today. Days like those are days that Texas rig is usually going to excel over the jig. Now, like I said, sometimes you have no idea when that's going to be. But generally the days when it's a little bit tougher, they want a little bit smaller profile, the Texas rig bait will get more bites. Now another situation, a different type of cover I like to fish a little bit more with the Texas rig than I do with the jig, is what we got right back here behind me. So as you guys can see, we got the bank over here. This entire bank line right here has nice grass. It's got hydrilla, live hydrilla, which is a huge thing, finding live grass in the spring. And it's on a bank where they work back and these fish are going to end up spawning in a lot of these pockets you can see back on this bank here behind me. That's an awesome place to throw a Texas rig beaver. Now the great thing about it is, the reason I like to throw it here over a jig is it comes through the cover so much better than a jig. You know, generally in the spring, around our lakes anyways, along with that hydrilla, we also have a lot of that slimy, nasty grass. And that's pretty much like a death wish if you're throwing a jig in there. You throw a jig in there, you're probably gonna come back with a ball of slime, and it's gonna happen about as fast as it touches it. With a Texas rig, for whatever reason, it comes through a little bit cleaner, easier to pop through and get that grass off your bait, which obviously allows you to have a lot more effective presentation throughout your entire cast. That's all I got for you guys today. You know, remember, get out and throw that jig around those shallow pockets that have kind of warmed up a little bit. Figure out where the fish are holding and get out and flip that jig around that timber. And then if you just got a tough condition day, the sky is high, the fish don't really want to bite, or you're fishing grass on the way into spawning pockets and warm water areas and stuff like that, go ahead and deploy the old Texas rig. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Don't forget to go down and hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you very soon.